Tonight there's quite a number of questions. If I cannot finish tonight, I'll continue tomorrow when we have a closing. Throughout the retreat, I forgot to mention something. Whenever you do taking the precepts, you must not sit like that. You must not sit like that. And also you cannot sit cross-legged also. Usually either you kneel or one leg behind. One leg cross or one leg behind. If one of the legs cannot. Yeah. It's a mark of respect. Yeah. Of course, during Dhamma talk also the same thing. But then I'm not too emphasize on it now. Because one Dhamma talk can be an hour or more for some teachers. Sometimes in Burma, even Dhamma talk also they kneel for 1 hour. But here, as I said, don't emphasize on that. But during taking the precept, taking the three refuges, you cannot sit as you like. You totally disrespect not only the teachers, disrespect the Dhamma itself, and the Buddha also. All right. Okay. Let us start with the first question. Well, this is a first question. Let's start with an interesting one. Complicated but interesting. It appears that there are more women interested in meditation than men. Why do you think that is so? Do women have better endurance? It appears that there are more women interested in meditation than men. Why do you think is that so? Do women have better endurance? Why? Why less men and more women? It's not about more. This is, as I say, is a complicated answer. Complicated question, also maybe a complicated answer. The way I look at it, it's not really about just endurance. Some people say that women go through suffering more than men, so they want to look for Dhamma more. But the way I look at it is that you go to like not only just Buddhism, you go to like Catholic, Christianity, and so on. You see that also more women are also in the church and so on. It's not just boils down. I mean, it's not just only in Buddhism, but one other thing I notice is usually the faith, the quality of the faith. Faith in the women is, in a way, more or stronger than men. This is maybe sort of like mental and bodily nature too, You see, but the thing is that faith here, the word is Pali is saddha. Now the faith here can be very light faith and also can be a very strong faith. But if the faith does not come with right knowledge, it doesn't come with right knowledge, then it is not actually faith. It's more like a worldly faith, in a sense that sometimes the faith itself can be corrupted by wrong views. Corrupted by wrong views. Corrupted by wrong views. That means sometimes if one does not go through our mind, if just everything just surrender, whoever the monks, whoever wearing a robe, whoever is bald-headed must be right. They must be right, without thinking about it, without questioning, without so on. You kind of like, so in this way, actually, the nature itself, the nature is that the faith, if you are not careful, you become gullible. Whatever people say, yes. Yeah. So one has to be careful. Yeah. So the way I look at it is, women, the nature of faith is stronger. Whereas men, the skeptical doubt is there, in the sense that when you give them anything new, it's always the doubt about it first, until you tell them it can be done, it can be this one, you give them some confidence, then only they start coming in. So this is the way I look at it. Endurance wise, I do not see that really in whether it's men or women. As long as the practice is going on, then you see that the men and the women has that endurance. But how they come in is usually because of the female, because of the faith factor is stronger than the men. That's how I look at it. That's why it's quite complicated, because I'm not women now. No, whereas when you come into, sometimes even interview, the men sometimes have sometimes a lot of them are skeptical about even what to do, what to practice, and so on. Okay, next one. Some seems to spend more time on Dhamma study and express the wish to attain at least Sotapanna in this very life. Sotapanna means the first stage of enlightenment. How do we show them that this is only through practice? That it is only through practice the only way to attain enlightenment. At some point, our practice Dhamma knowledge will be useful, correct? How do we show them? Through practice. Sometimes it's difficult, not easy, to tell people who are very strong in the knowledge of Dhamma. Kind of like the Dhamma becomes a hindrance if they're not open enough, because sometimes they thought that they know everything. Really, they thought that they know everything, and they are not open for sort of discussion. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. If somehow or another we can able to convince them. Sometimes if you can able to convince them in one way or another, if they happen to able to go for practice and they know that the practice is an important aspect of the development, then it would be good. A lot of us have Dhamma knowledge. A lot of us, if you don't have much Dhamma knowledge, usually when you come to the practice, you don't have that motivation. You don't have the enthusiasm to go through the practice. So at least for you, you have some Dhamma understanding, Dhamma knowledge that you can able to pull through. You tell somebody without Dhamma understanding and they ask to them to come to meditate, they're going to have a hard time. I mean, what's the purpose sitting down there just to watch the pain? How are we going to convince them? How are we going to convince them that the pain and so on, the mindfulness can be able to come in? But, sometimes not only that, there are different ways of people practicing also. Sometimes we got to tell them, hey, I mean, pain is a natural phenomena. Pay attention to it too, I mean, they tell us that, what for? We want to go through all the suffering. We have enough suffering in life. Why go through more suffering? Go for more calm, pleasant, nice meditation. You know, so sometimes it's very difficult to tell them. And a lot of times also when they have a lot of Dharma knowledge, but a lot of times they interpret even the Dharma knowledge according to their own idea or their own understanding, and a lot of time it's distorted. Yeah, a lot of time distorted, and also sometimes the translation from, let's say, from a Thera perspective is from the Pali words which used by the Buddha at the time. Then you translate into English or you translate into Mandarin. Sometimes the translation you lost in the translation, which we will see, afterwards there's also some question there. When you distort the understanding, then you miss out a lot of things about what the Buddha says. Mm. And also, for example, like even you interpret it correctly. Let's say you interpret a certain phrases, a certain word correctly, but you only know that level only. They do not know that there are even deeper level of that. How all these things are connected, and how they're all interrelated. Sometimes they see the Dharma as just one thing, and then sometimes it's very hard for them to draw where are all the connections and all the conditioning. So sometimes the views become quite narrow. Now, whereas when you go through practices, when you go through proper vipassana practice and samatha practice too, and you do them rightly, it broadens up the understanding. Not only broaden, it deepens the understanding. It deepens the understanding. And when it deepens it, then next time you read about, let's say, the word mindfulness. Then you understand that mindfulness has so much more deeper than what we know previously. For a lot of people nowadays, mindfulness is just like, for example, it's just like being here, just be present, be nice, like that only. That's about it. But we do not know. They do not know that the application of the mindfulness can go much more deeper. It can bring in all the concentration, wisdom factor to truly able to see the true phenomena as they really are. But they not interested in that because understanding is not there. Until you practice and you see the phenomena, that what is truly going on, then only you realize that there are so many more layers inside there. Or things like, for example, anicca. Sometimes we use the word anicca so general and so on. But perhaps past 1 or 2 or 3 days, I've mentioned that the word anicca has much more deeper level, in the sense that there's arising and passing away, not just anything change here and there, which is generally we still correct, but to a lot of people that is anicca already. But we don't realize that they are deeper than that. Within this mind and body process, the anicca is so much more deeper. Even we use the word anicca. Yeah? Or even sometimes you use the word dukkha. All the people, a lot of them is just dukkha, is just pain here and there, and that's about it. But dukkha not necessarily connected to pain. Just even the object is neutral, but it's changing, it is forming, it is arising, it's passing away, also dukkha. But we don't see that. So there's a lot of underlying understanding that has to become from the practice itself. Yeah. I mean, it's still good that you go back, you read all the suttas, whatever, or you read the text, which is good. But make sure you question it a little bit. Yeah. Don't just read every monk, every nun that wrote the book, or every lay person. Any book that is Dhamma or they put a Buddha there must be right. It's not necessary. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Is the actual purification of the mind happening before one attains enlightenment? Is the actual purification of mind happening before one attains enlightenment? If yes, at which stage of insight knowledge does it start being purified and how? Yeah? If yes, at which stage? Now, when you say purification of mind, that what we are doing over here, before you attain enlightenment, that the process of purification of the mind is really taking place. Now, the purification comes in like different levels. To give you an understanding is that, that day I talked about why do we need to notice all this arising, passing away, the change, and so on? Why do we need to notice this change and this anicca and this impermanence? Because it wants to overcome or to abandon the wrong perception of permanence. To see that all phenomena is impermanent, whether the mind or body process is impermanent, so that internally the mind begins to see itself, and therefore slowly and slowly the abandoning of the wrong perception of permanence begins to take place. For example, anatta. You see the conditioning again and again. You see the conditioning. You see that all the nature that you are noticing, you cannot control it. It comes on its own. It goes on its own, and you see mind and bodily conditioning, the intention and the body, the leg is moving, are all conditioning. So you see those aspects. Why we see this aspect? Because behind it is the abandon of a self. Abandoned self means abandon of something that's controlling. That controlling could be God, external controlling, could be some soul that is controlling, can be some internal controller or external controller, or the I is the one that is controlled. So here, you begin to abandon all this idea. In another way, we look at it, it's called purification of the mind, because it purifies the wrong, unwholesome things out. It purifies the unwholesome things out. Not unwholesome, the wrong perception out. It purifies them out. Now, so there are different ways of what we look at purification, but in general, when we look at purification of the mind, is the moment you start noting your object, your purification starts. You stop, purification also stop. Because every level of you develop, every moment that you develop in this vipassana development, all depends on one purification, one noting and another 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 noting continuously. And all these things, when they pass through certain things, we call it this insight or that insight, this purification or that purification. We give names towards it. But in reality, the moment you start noting, lifting, pushing, dropping, rising, falling, all this purification starts. Okay? Purification starts. You don't have a name for all this, which purification or which insight. If as long as you note carefully, you can go all the way to realize Nibbana. During the Buddha's time, this 16 insight knowledge was not mentioned, It's only like in the commentaries that these words are mentioned, but they are still correct because it derived from the suttas. It's perfectly correct, not that they are wrong. So there are also during Buddha's time, the monks, they don't have the concept of all these things. They just know how to practice. The Buddha gave them the instruction, they practice. Therefore, enlightened arahant there. They don't know much about, they know some understanding of the Buddha. Because during the Buddha's time, you cannot get to see the Buddha all the time, Hey, the Buddha is roaming the whole in the northern India, especially. Northern India is quite far away. It's about 1,000 miles apart. So, and they are walking. So, not every time you get to see the Buddha. Yeah. So they may be monks and proclaiming about some Dhamma and so on, but they don't get the this one. So they can get instruction of the Buddha, they go and practice, and they already, they push themselves, and then enlightened take place, So they may not have so much of the Dhamma knowledge like what you may have right now, through what you see from here, recordings and so on, YouTube, and this video, that video, so many right now. During the Buddha's time, they don't have this. Everything is only by memory. Everything by memory. So other words, purification starts. You begin by noting. Begins by the moment you start noting, it condition for the next moment. It give you the condition for the next moment, and the next moment condition, the next moment, and the condition, and the condition, and the condition. As long as you keep noting, paying attention to your object, your mind is purified, because everything it begins to shows you the true nature of things. That means, other words, behind it is abandoning all the wrong perception of things, of phenomena, of our thinking, and so on. Okay, next one. What constitute as a good meditation sitting? What constitute as a good sitting meditation session? Or what does one strive during sitting meditation? So what is a good sitting meditation? You tell me. You've been doing it for the past 2 weeks. Do I have to answer this? You see, a good sitting meditation is not about what object it arises. It's about how clear you notice your object. For a lot of people, to them, if it's a painful sitting, no good sitting. Here pain, there pain, no good sitting. Even the mind is clear. Even they try to notice, no good sitting. But when they sit down, oh, so calm, so peaceful, so nice, wonderful sitting. I mean, most of people will be like that. Most of the people, or even before you come in for this retreat, perhaps you also like that. You love that type of sitting, very nice, very calm. To you, if the Buddha is flying here and there, that's considered a good sitting for you. So you see, a lot of time people misinterpret the Dhamma. A lot of time people misinterpret the Dhamma. Now, if we do not have this wisdom, we can get caught into this type of wrong teachings. Then it can be very long for you to get stuck, because it's very nice and it's very pleasant. So, the moment you start paying attention and you notice things carefully as best as you can, that means whether sometimes even you got sleepiness, you got drowsiness coming in, but you try to notice the nature of that drowsiness. Perhaps it doesn't go that well, it reduces, it comes back, but you keep trying to note it. If you try to notice how its character is like, that is a good sitting. Even come with sleepiness. But the thing is that the yogi is trying to notice what is going on. That constitute good to me. Yeah. But to the yogi, sleepiness only, what's the big deal? Yeah. Yeah. And then again, like pain. A lot of time people don't like the pain. They don't want to see the pain. They don't want to watch the pain. They just want to get rid of the pain. So to them, anytime that pain comes in, even they try to note, to them, their whole idea is already not a good sitting. Or sometimes yogis, like we do this rising and falling, primary objects. To them, it's like, oh, that sitting, I didn't get my rising and falling. But then I can notice sitting and touching, I can notice the mind, I can notice hard, soft body sensation, pain here and there. Oh, I finished that hour. The mind is alert, but to them, oh, it's not a very good sitting because I cannot notice the rising and falling. You see? So like that, huh? But now, this one, the problem is this, sometimes even this Vipassana meditation, some teachers, the problem is some teachers, that's the problem. They insist that the yogi must only see rising and falling. They are not interested in the yogi's walking meditation. They are not interested in the yogi's pain. They are not interested in the yogi's sleepiness. They are not interested in the yogi's restless mind or whatever. They don't want to know that. They just want to come into the interview room. They want to know your rising and falling. You know rising falling, that means no good meditation. So to them, the yogi, you build up over time because that's the teacher, you see. It says that your meditation no good. You also think, yeah, no good, no. That's the problem with this man, and it's quite actually. Sorry to say, there's quite a lot of teachers are like that. They just want to know your this one, and therefore, for the yogi, walking meditation is not important anymore. Daily activities is not so important anymore. Anything that you come in is you push and then you strive and just to hold on to that rising and falling. That's where that a lot of yogis end up with a lot of tension. So tense up. And when you get tension for some time, you think you will come back again for this retreat. You won't come back again because why? There's no result. I come in, I'm quite enthusiastic, but when I go back, we feel with so much tension instead of mindfulness. Maybe I did something. Next retreat, come back again. Keep on trying. The teacher said want to see rising, so I try rising and falling only. Then end up tension, end up cannot practice. Then you begin to doubt the practice already. What for going through all this thing and yet go back all kind of tension and all kind of problem. Yeah. Now, if I were to tell you here in this retreat, no need to sit, just no need to walk, just sit only. Just sit only. You also will end up with a lot of tension. Not only tension, you're going to end up with a lot of physical problem also. Then you end up also, you're not going to build up. So until now, because you're able to withstand, if you could last for 2 weeks, because again here, there's a lot of walking, sitting over time, that the mind is more or less balanced. Not every sitting is clear, not every walking is clear, but some sittings are good, some sittings some walkings are clear. Yeah? So therefore you got to be careful. As long as your mind is truly alert, really alert to know what is the object, then well and good. Yeah? Number 2. When does one realize non-self during the 16 stages of insight knowledge? When does one realize non-self during the 16 stages of insight knowledge? You notice those things, the nature of non-self. Even you see it, but you don't conceptually knows it. But nothing you know it, yeah? Nothing you know it. But conceptually, logically Dharma understand a Dharma concept. You may not relate your your logical understanding or your Dharma understanding with the process that's going through. You cannot relate because sometimes they're just so they're beyond your thinking. The process that's going on is beyond your thinking. So it's good that we don't have to think about it. All we need to do is just keep noting. As you keep noting, the progress go further. If you stop there and start thinking, then you're going to have a problem. Your whole meditation is going to slow down. Many years ago, I got retreat, and then there's one doctor, doctor think a lot, so they come and meditate. I say, you just keep on noting all your objects, I mean, he can able to meditate quite well, but the problem is, he says that if I do not know this thing, I do not know it's anicca. How do I know that this is anicca? How am I going to know that? How am I going to know that this is impermanent if I don't think about it? Yeah. How do I know all these things if I don't think about it? Because you see, the reason is that we don't ask you to think about it because we want you to develop another level of wisdom. You see, development of this Dhamma in full context, the wisdom is divided into 3 levels. The first level of wisdom is that you gain right understanding through what you hear and what you read. That is to say, you understand the karma, you understand the 5 precepts, you understand the 12 dependent origination, you understand the 4 noble truth, and so on. You understand. You listen to the right teachings. Yeah. This right teaching here, they go parallel with reality. Although you don't see the reality yet, but it goes parallel with their reality. Whether in this life, future life, or past life, this reality still holds. Yeah? Karma, let's say, karma and vipaka. The karma and its resultant. You think past life you don't have it? In future life you don't have it? That's right. They cut through time. They are timeless. Yeah, dukkha. You don't have it in the past. No, that's not like that. You have it in the past life also. You have it. You kill something. You kill a being. For example, you kill an animal. There will always be consequences. But when the consequences come in, we do not know. But because of that, it cuts through time. It doesn't matter whether the Buddha arises or not. The truth is already there. It's just that the Buddha comes in and then he able to teach us. Then we listen to it. That constitute as a wisdom. What is wholesome? What is unwholesome? What is right and what is wrong? Then that also is constitute as a right understanding. The one that it comes into with seeing and hearing, or studying over here. Now, worldly knowledge, for example, you talk about financial knowledge, let's say. You talk about science and so on. That one doesn't constitute wisdom in the sense of Buddhist wisdom, that one considered as a worldly knowledge, because that worldly knowledge, you can use the science to kill somebody, You can use technology to kill somebody else, Correct enough. You can use your financial knowledge to cheat somebody, Correct enough. That one, whereas the Dhamma, if it's the correct understanding, then that give you the right view, and the right view is a wholesome state of mind. It's not unwholesome state of mind. So worldly knowledge, they are knowledge, but if it's not guided with morality, then that knowledge can goes together with unwholesomeness, and then you can kill and steal and so on. So this the second type of wisdom is that wisdom that comes from your thinking, your reflection. Now this is where, like the first question people ask, how come people so good at study now? They can quote the sutta here, quote the sutta there. Sometimes you sit beside them also. Oh, I can't remember so many things, but there are people who are very deep into all this study thing. So the thing is that this reflection, it comes from what you study and what you hear. And then you think about it. You think about anicca. You think about dukkha. You think about anatta. You think about it, and it's still good. Not to say it's not good. It's still some degree of wisdom. But then that too, just like the first one, can be corrupted by your own or by others' reasoning, others' ideas also. It will be corrupted into it. So if it's not corrupted, then it's well and good. Now the third type of wisdom is the wisdom that comes from mental development and also belongs to mental development only. That one comes with either the development of samatha meditation or vipassana meditation through mental development. Now, in sense of samatha meditation, then you also see as you develop, some degree of wisdom also arises, but that wisdom cannot get you out of samsara. It gets you higher level of development, higher realms of existence as you pass away and reborn. Whereas vipassana, the wisdom, finally it brings you out of samsara. And that wisdom is not by thinking, it's not by reflection. It's by just truly seeing things as they truly are. That's just, as I said, just paying attention to the object. And that noticing here and there, all the object as they arises, passes away, as they change and so on, those are the third aspect of wisdom. But the problem with us is that whenever we see this third type of wisdom, the mind always like to go back to the second wisdom just to reflect for it for a while. What is that now? Is it the anicca? Every time we go back to the second wisdom, because we are, whether we like it or not, you crave for that knowledge. You crave for it, but you don't realize it because you all are thinkers. You like to think. You like to analyze. I mean, all these things, You like to analyze, you like to think. The thinking gives you that satisfaction. You notice this thing. Tomorrow I must go and ask Bante exactly what it is. Then only the Bantes tell me, then only I feel satisfied. You see? Otherwise, you're craving. You're craving for wanting the answer. If at that moment of time, you just push the reflection aside, push the questioning aside, just go back to noticing. Sooner or later, you'll notice that questioning will fade away. Then the mind will just go on. Some people, if they don't get the answer, they wouldn't carry on the meditation. You see the craving for knowledge. Yeah. So, we come back to the question here. How do we realize non-self? To them, this is the realize of non-self. That means a lot of time people want to think about it. What is non-self? They want to kind of like relate where is the non-self happening. Whereas all these things is happening throughout the development. Non-self is not that you just see one thing. Oh, I see all the non-self. Hooray. There's not one way. It's just like when you talk about anicca, you must remember that there are so many facets of anicca. There's no just because you see some arising and passing away, you see every anicca. No, not yet. Uh, you see a little bit of changing in the pain. You see all the dukkha. Not yet. Uh, Even for example, if you see, for example, you notice the intention. You notice the intention, then you notice the leg starts moving. That is anatta. That is because the mind and the leg are conditioning. Those are anatta, but you don't even. But the key here is that if you don't think of it as anatta, progress still carry on. You know, the progress is still going on. But some people, if you tell them, oh, that is anatta, oh, they are so happy, with oh, I see anatta already. They thought that that's all the anatta there is, I say they think that they are going to get ready for enlightenment already. Sometimes yogis were to come and ask me, Bande, I meditate so long, which inside knowledge I am? Can you tell me? Yeah. Sometimes if I got something like a stick like that, that one, I really make them awake. Usually, and I don't tell the yogis what insight, As I said, sometimes I can make mistakes. I'm still human, but I don't make mistake. If you, if I know that you still keep noting and noting and noting, as long as you don't worry which insight you are in, then okay. Some people calculate. So I got 4 insights already. These 4 insights, I did it for 2 years. So 16 insight knowledge. So I must got 2 years at that. So another 4, 3, 6 years maybe, or 7 years or 8 years. 你爸那了 They calculate yeah. There are people like that. There are people like that because they study so much, they study, they think, overthink and overthink. And then they think until everything entangled inside there. So as I said, put away all your thoughts and just pay attention to it as they are. If all the inside knowledge is so important, every retreat I have to talk about it. You know what I talk in every retreat or not? I talk about mindfulness in every retreat. I talk about clear comprehension in every retreat. Every retreat I go, how to note, how to pay attention. That is what I teach. Because if the yogi know how to do that, then the yogi can progress. Whether I tell them insight or I tell them this or that, then it's not really matter. But what matters is that the most important component that the yogi must know. If they know it, they will be able to progress. Whether you see me or you don't see me in the future retreats, you're still somewhat able to progress because you have that basic skill in you. Yeah. If you don't have the basic skill, you can be just like the person who knows the Dharma but doesn't go anywhere. He knows the inside knowledge. He knows after enlightenment is this and that, but then doesn't know how to practice that much. Yeah. So the more important thing is that we must come back to just by noting, because that noting, it gives rise to a special wisdom, which is not by thinking, but it's by truly observation, things as they really are. Yeah? All right. You mentioned about Theravada Bodhisattva practice in the early Dharma talks, which is very similar to Mahayana ideas. Are those Theravada concept texts coming from Nikayas or somewhere else? Is it from Nikaya? Which one? Yeah. Earlier part, I talk about how Bodhisattva, from the perspective of Theravada. As I said, how many 100,000 life just to think about it. 100,000 lives to talk about it, 100,000 lives to act upon it, but they are still not a bodhisattva yet. Until you get a proclamation from a Buddha, then from then on, then only is regarded as a bodhisattva. But then it's going to be a very long journey before you're able to complete as a Buddha. So where does all these things come from? The one that usually the Buddha mentioned is the one that some from the Nikayas. For example, getting the proclamation, and for 4 eons, 100,000 world cycles, or 8 eons depending on the quality, or 16 eons depending on the quality, then that one did mentioned by the Buddha in the Nikayas. Some of aspect is mentioned in the commentaries. In the commentaries, one of the interesting commentaries about Bodhisattva in the Theravada tradition is in the what we call the Chronicles of the Buddhas. They call it the Chronicles of the Buddha, Buddha Vamsa, something like that. Then that one they have all. They tell you, quite a number of books. Chronicles of the Buddha. And then you get a lot of. Interesting to study, It's interesting to study. Many years ago, I've been studying. You can look at for one Buddha after another. Okay, something like that. Okay, this one is on the practice now. We come back to the practice. Some of the question here, we come back to the practice. Dear Bante, when I did my sitting meditation, my body moved many times in many directions. What should I do? When I do my sitting meditation, my body wanted to move in many directions. What should I do? Now, this one is a very common phenomenon that yogis go through after some time of meditation. A few factors it may happen why the Buddha, why the body is moving. Now, whichever it is, whichever the cause of give rise to the body movement, we put aside first. Don't worry about the cause yet. Now the effect is that the body is moving right now. What should we do as a meditator? Because sometimes we do not know what are the causes. Sometimes yogis are more interested in the causes. Why happened? My body is moving. They try to look for the causes, but actually, you don't really have to look at the causes yet. You deal with the body first. Okay. Now, first thing, what you should do, whatever causes that comes in, if your body starts to shake, then if you feel that it's wanted to move, you open up your eyes for a while. You open up your eyes, see whether the body actually moving, or it is just sometimes very little tiny, you don't even see it, but internally, it's like, it's like vibrating. You open up your eyes, no, I'm not moving. So at least you know that physically your body is not moving. Then, well and good. But sometimes you open up your eyes, the body is actually moving. And that one, what you should do is that you should stop the movement of the body. The more in the sitting, as long as you start moving, you're going to disturb all your meditation, especially the continuous moving. Sometimes you sit there, you scratch a little bit. That one not too bad, but still not too bad, but better not to do because it develops a habit. But this one, that you sit down and then the body start then up and down. That one, if you find that happens, you open up your eyes. You know that it's this one. Then you must make a strong intention, strong will to stop the movement. You stop the movement. You have the strong will to stop the movement. You have to keep it stop. It internally, it still want to push you to to move. It is that time your something is going on inside there. You don't worry about it, but make sure that you stop the movement first. So you hold the body as still as you can. Yeah. Now, next thing, yeah, pay attention internally. If you can able to stop this, now pay attention internally. Sometimes if you notice internally, there are something, for example, some elements or some movements. It's like keep on moving, Just keep on pounding and pounding and moving and moving. And normally, if the yogis are not careful, it the internal is like conditioning the external body to go in rhythm with it. Yeah, in rhythm with it. Internally it's moving, the externally also moving because you just enjoy however the wind element or whatever element is moving inside there. Yeah. So when you stop the external movement, you stop the external movement, then the internal movement becomes clear to you. So when the internal movement becomes clear to you, you notice the internal movement however it wants to do, as long as you don't move the body. It can be quite violent, inside there. It can be quite strong pressure and so on, but don't move the body. Keep the body still. Yeah? If you don't keep the body still, if you keep on moving, after that you kind of enjoy it, You keep on enjoy. Because after that you move, all your pain and all your everything all gone because it's like a good exercise like that, good chi, wow. And then you get enjoy inside there, and then some people don't want to stop. You just they go on and on and on and on and on. So that is not good because the moment you start enjoying it, that means it's too much already. Yeah, it's too much already. So make sure stop the body from moving, and then note and then bring the mind towards inside to see what is going on inside there. Don't think about why is it, but make sure you come back to internally to see what is going on. Usually there's something there. Something is clearly is going on there. Uh, then that time if you learn to hold it, next time after some time you get used to the keeping the body still. Now the internal movement is moving quite a lot, and then it becomes just another meditation object. Yeah, it becomes another meditation object. So don't move the body. Yeah, I've seen. You're long enough. You go to retreats here and there. Let's say you see somebody move the body, and the more they move, the more happy they become. As if like they are so high like that. Long enough, you'll see this type of people. Yeah? Just make sure you don't follow them. Keep the body still. Touch points. Next question. Touch points for sitting and touching. Can I have left and right palm on the left and right knee, then leave them there for the rest of the sitting? Like, what is the question asked is that now you sit cross-legged, right hand, right palm on the right knee, left palm on the left knee lah. Like that yeah. So can you use that as a touching point? Yes, you can use those as a touching point. For example, you notice touching, touching, touching. Then you go to the left, touching, touching, touching. Also can. Sometimes this touching, when you do that, whenever there's rising and falling is not clear, or objects are not clear, then you pay attention to the touching. Notice them. You do from here, here, then perhaps you want to go to the buttock, left buttock, right hands, left hand, then you go one like anti-clockwise or clockwise, whichever you like. Sometimes you can go randomly also can. So what is important is that when you touch it, when you touch something, you must learn to feel at least one or two characteristics, whether it's hot, warm, sweaty. Sometimes there are some sensation there, just to make sure that your mind knows what is going on. Sometimes in the sitting and touching also, There are multiple ways that we can do it. For example, some people use the whole body sitting. Also can, if you can able to feel it. Some people cannot really feel it. The buttock is more clearer. Also possible. You can use it as a point. Or you can, some people feel the knees. Knees, right knee, left knee. Also, you can use it as a touching point. So sometimes you can go up to like 4 points, 5 points. It's good. It's good. Don't do too many points. At one time, I'm taught to do 10 points. So after that, I go the 5th point. What is the 6th point already? Should I go here or there? I kind of confused. So as long as you do about 3 or 4 or 5 points, as long as you can know which one to go, then well and good. Yeah. If you are not so used to the sitting and touching. Now there are in a place in Burma, which is not so popular, but it also falls under Vipassana. Their sitting and touching is the primary object. They start off sitting and touching as a primary object. They, for example, they have a standing meditation, standing for 1 hour or more. You stand there and you notice all the sensation, pulling, and so on. Just like, for example, we used to able to sit for 1 hour because we train from 20 minutes and more we train. But there also the same thing. You stand, beginning part 15 minutes, then 20 minutes. After that 1 hour. It's the same thing. If your body is healthy, if your body is healthy, it can be done. It can be done. You can stand there for 1 hour. Now, sometimes in the past, I also do standing meditation for 1.5 hours. Stand there and notice. You stand there 5 minutes time. Oh, cannot really. It's about getting used to it. It's about getting used to it. So, nevertheless, doesn't matter if you don't do that often. But as I said, sitting and touching is a very good object whenever things are not so clear. And sitting and touching used to there. It's always there actually. So next time, if it's not clear, like everything not clear, what you can do is just you put your hand there, just rub a bit, cheat a bit, rub. Then you feel some sensation, then note, then note. Or you put your hand here, God, nothing, touching, nothing, rub a bit. Just for a short while. At least got something better than nothing, isn't it? Actually, it's good. And then because you rub a little bit, you feel the warmth, and then you stop, and then you feel the note, the warmness, or touching, or sensation is there. Yeah? It can be helpful. Yeah? Next one. This next one, a little bit more thinking already. Next few ones. In the Dhammapada verse, Nati janang apanyasa. There is no jhana without wisdom. In the Dhammapada verse 372. There is no jhana without wisdom. There's no wisdom without jhana. One who has jhana and wisdom, he is in the vicinity of Nibbana. Where Vipassana meditation fits in here? Here wisdom means who gains from Vipassana practice. What jhana really means. Wow. I say, next time I must put here, I must remember. One question mark. Not one question, several question mark, as if like you're asking 3 or 4 questions. No. There is no jhana without wisdom. Again here, just now I said, the Pali verse and the English verse is not translated in this sense. Now, when we use the word jhana in the Pali sense, you have to see the context or what it means. Because sometimes the context can be very near, especially the word jhana here. Here, in overall context, jhana can have 2 meanings. First, jhana is the meaning of to meditate. That means your mind is is really meditating, meditating like what we are doing, whether walking, sitting, daily activities, that your mind is really there. That is also called jhana in Pali. That's the first meaning. Second meaning of jhana is the samatha jhana, that you get absorbed into it. That also we use the word jhana. All right. Now, in Pali, sometimes you have to see different translation, especially that you go to English or Mandarin. The translator translate according to what they know. Yeah? And sometimes they know that it's difficult to translate. Now here, the word jhana here does not mean absorption. It's not the second one. It's more towards the first one. Yeah? There's no meditation. There's no really. That means, in other words, you must really pay attention, whether it's in the vipassana or in the jhana or in the samatha. You must be away from a lot of all these people, away from, like yesterday I mentioned, you got to be away from people, away from all the disturbance, that you can able to meditate and you have a time, then only your mind can deepen. So when it's deepened, in other words, the restless mind, the sleepiness and so on does not come in. So in that sense, it's already called jhana. Understand? It's already called jhana in that sense. Yeah. So 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 even for samatha meditators also, before they attain the second jhana, which is the absorption type of jhana, they also have jhana in the sense that the mind is already free from all the defilements, free from drowsiness, free from restless mind too. Yeah. So when you interpret there is no jhana without wisdom, that means if your mind is not free from all these defilements and everything, the sleepiness and all these things, then the wisdom does not arise. You understand what I mean? If let's say right now you practice for 2 weeks, your mind keep on thinking, planning, and sleepy, and you cannot note what are you going to notice, right? So what it means is here, there's no jhana without wisdom. So, in other words, the practice towards nibbana, you must be free for yourself from all the defilements, free from all the thinking, the hindrances, and so on. Then the wisdom comes in. The wisdom that you pay attention to see things as they really are. The third type of wisdom comes in. Yeah. It does not mean one must have the absorption in the sense of samatha jhana, first level jhana, second level jhana. No, not necessary. But if you have it, it is good. But doesn't mean that you must have it. If you must have it, we don't have to talk about vipassana. I start with y'all with samatha meditation first. If you need, but we know that it's not needed. But if you have, it will be good. Yeah. But we don't have the time to talk about it so much and to practice so much. Yeah. You got 2 weeks only. Not like you have two years. 2 years if you're a monk or nuns, maybe I'll teach you all. Yeah. But here you are, want to go back and see all your grandchildren already. Yeah. So wisdom here, as I said, I mentioned here, wisdom is when it comes to is the third type of wisdom, is the one that is truly see the anicca, dukkha, anatta in the fairest manner, and that one is the one that is going to bring you towards realization of nibbana. Yeah? Okay, question 2. Can we take 8 precepts by himself at home? No food after 12 p.m. Just take anything that needs to, just not take anything needs to be chewed. Are milk or chocolate candy okay? What to do if accidentally violate the precept? How to repent? Yeah. You got to be. I mean, these 8 precepts is good because these 8 precepts it help us to reduce our desire for food. Now, after a while, you stay here. By this time, you don't think about, I go for dinner. The mind is so much easier for it to settle, and the body is so much more lighter. Huh? Now, in the terms of 8 precepts, actually milk, chocolate, strictly speaking, you're not supposed to take all these things. Strictly speaking. But you all go into your room, who knows? You only know yourself. Strictly speaking, but there are places they interpret that chocolate is okay. For example, you go to a Thai tradition, chocolate okay. Some place, even different monastery, milk is okay. Well, some people milk is not okay. For example, like soya milk. Some places soya milk is okay. Soya milk is not okay. Some places even like Burma, the interpretation of this is that even drinking tea is not okay. Because tea considered to them as food also. Coffee also cannot. But in Thailand, coffee can. So again here, the type of food is depending on interpretation. So it's best that if you are not hungry, don't forget about all these things, then that time the desire don't come in. But if you having like gastric or ulcer or here and there, you may take some chocolate or may take some milk because you want to take some medication and so on. Then I allow. I allow. Finally, it's up to you for your own craving how much you want to eat. So if it's eat enough just for the sake of reducing the pain that you can able to meditate, it's better for you to do so. Then we regard that those things together with your medication and so on, all those things we look at it as medication. We look at it as medication. So if you happen to violate it, that means you ate something and so on, then normally we just retake the 8 precept again. We'll take the 8 precept again. And again here, it's not after 12, The Vikala Bhojana is not after 12. It's after the solar noon, And solar noon is always different. Here you got 1 hour later, What is your solar noon right now? 1:30 p.m. So you can eat until that time. And then after that, you shift back to one daylight or 1 hour. Then you go back to 12:30 or 12:15, and it fluctuates towards the time. How do you gonna know? Use an app nowadays. Everywhere your GPS will tell you exactly where you are. Now, okay, there are a few more questions here. Not too long, but I think I answer it tomorrow. Right now it's already 9:30. Okay, hungry already. Too much energy burnt. All right, so we stop here for tonight. Share merits,